Want to do like do half up or a whole step up? What do you think? Let's try half.
Yeah.
Let's try the course again. I want to see if that can be comfortable for your like range, melody wise. So follow me higher, you call me deeper. Boy, you lead me, Lord, Lord. You would call me higher, you would call me deeper. Boy, you lead me, Lord, you lead me. That sounds better for your voice, yeah. Yeah, the more you sing, the more you're gonna get like both ends of your range. It's gonna be good. Good morning. That's awesome. Yeah. So, how dedicated and confirmed are you on wanting to? You want to find that? It just disappeared. Oh, I thought it went under the rug. Are you really serious about?
I was saying Daniel here.
Yeah, and do you think? I mean, so. Right now, it looks like I've got Maya and you that are the only ones really interested and actually able to come and do practices and every other week. So I would be doing, up here we'd be doing second and fourth Sunday of the month. And what was your schedule downstairs for kids? Is that is that Wednesdays? Or?
I do Saturday nights.
Okay.
And I'm doing Wednesdays right now, but
cool.
When Jared gets more involved with the high school, he won't be doing worship in there anymore. Gotcha. So I'm probably gonna not be doing Wednesdays anymore.
Okay, cool. Would you be able to commit to 2 Sundays a month? Yeah. In up here with the band? And then we ideally would be practicing on Friday afternoons. Is that possible?
Well,
we don't have to do that.
Well, we do Friday night high school right now.
Okay.
Here from 6 to 10.
Okay, this would be like ideally like 3 or 3:30.
3 or 3:30. Well, my mom normally picks me up at school at 4.
Oh, okay.
I get out of school at 3, but
okay.
My mom doesn't get off work till 4. My dad is farming, so.
Gotcha. Okay, alright, sounds good. And so they would, they would do is pick you up from school, bring you, and then bring you to church at what, 5 or 6?
Well, we won't be doing Friday nights.
Oh, we're not doing Friday nights anymore.
Next year.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Have you heard?
Right. I didn't know if that was for sure. I heard your mom mention it. Yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna be 7 at high school.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
So,
yeah. So that would be a thing next year. Okay. I'm hoping to start maybe after Thanksgiving. But I don't know what you guys have planned, or maybe even sooner if you guys are available. But we could always find a different day to practice.
Yeah.
When are you here Saturdays?
Saturday night service.
Okay.
What I was thinking, I get here about 5:30 to 5:15, 5:30.
Okay.
And then I lead worship starting from 6 to 6:20, 6:30.
Gotcha.
And then service doesn't get out till 7:30, so maybe from 6:30 to 7:30 on.
That could work. I don't know if that would work for Maya because I don't know what her schedule looks like, but that's good. That's good to know. I'll talk to your mom. I'll talk to Maya's mom, and I'll see what I can do. And we'll find a practice that works for all of us. But I'm hoping to start as soon as we can. Because I think that would be amazing, and I'd love to have you leading up here. I like to. I'll lead with you guys, but I'd like to eventually let you guys do it yourselves, and I just back you up, like maybe play cajon or drums or something, just to help you set a rhythm. But you both got great voices, and Maya's probably going to be only singing, and so you can definitely like back her up and all that good stuff. That maybe take a verse once in a while and kind of trade off, but now it's going to be her main thing. But you're solid on guitar. I think if we just as a group got really comfortable playing together and keeping the rhythm, because it's one thing playing like leading by yourself.
Yeah.
It's a whole nother story leading with people, because you've got timing is even more important, and then you've got your little like dynamics and stuff too. So it's just I think that's the fun stuff to work at. I honestly love it. So I think that'd be awesome if we could just like get comfy playing together, and then eventually I think you guys are just good on your own. But I mean, I was just like you when I was your age. I was leading worship by myself for the younger kids, and then I was, when I got up in junior high, I was thrown on the teams up here, and it's a whole other story playing with a team than it is playing by yourself. So it's a little bit of an adjustment, but I know you can adjust quick. I know I did. Yeah, no, I would love that. It'd be very cool.
Can I use that after here?
Heck yeah.
Yeah, because my battery here is
bummer.
almost dead, so I can use a tuner on here, but I can only use it for like 5 seconds and then it dies, and then I have to press it to turn it off and then wait and then turn it back on another 5 seconds, and then it's not really accurate.
It's not doing a great job.
So like 5 times last night when I was leading worship, I had to tune, and I was doing "You Have Called Me Higher," and my G wasn't, like, it was really off, my E.
No.
So it was like
like
that. So
jazz.
So I literally just played that chord and then I went down there.
That's the only way to go.
And then all of the other chords I was muting that string.
Oh, that's funny. That's really funny. Then there.
I would have tuned on my phone, but I got my phone taken away.
Oh, bummer.
My guitar tuner is probably the most accurate I have.
On your phone?
On
really?
my phone.
I find it's
very
not
accurate.
Very accurate.
Well, if it's like everything else is dead silent,
right,
then you get
that's
a very accurate count. But
do you know this song, Cody Carnes song? Nothing else. This one is like.
I just wanna sit here at your feet.
Caught up in your presence. I just wanna sit here at your feet. Caught up in this holy moment. Never wanna leave. Oh, I'm not here for blessings. Jesus, you don't owe me anything more than anything that you can do. I just want you. I'm sorry, I've just gone through the motions. I'm sorry, and I just sing another song. Take me back to where I started. I open up my heart to you. Second verse. And I'm sorry, and I just come with my agenda. I'm sorry when I forgot that you're enough. Take me back to where we started. I open up my heart to you. And I'm caught up in your presence. I just wanna sit here Do you ever play this song, What a Beautiful Name? What key do you play it in?
I've heard it. I've never played it.
I'm gonna guess your capo 3. Should we try it? No. The
Key of
Pardon? It is 11:16 or 17, I believe.
So this is first service.
I thought you meant the date.
Oh.
I meant the date. Yeah, it's probably 9:18, not 10:18.
Do you know your brothers?
That one's right.
Probably. What do you reckon?
Thanks for jamming with me. I'm excited.
Yeah, me too. I got a text from either Kristen or Joe. I'm not sure. Asking if those.
Oh yeah, that was good.
I'm scared.
Why?
it's not set up right now.
Normal drum sets are better.
No, the electric drum set is. Have you ever played on an electric?
Yes, I take lessons on the electric drum set.
Congratulations.
Is he wanting them to come over after church?
Probably. That's usually
Is he here for the service?
Yeah. Is Cody?
Yeah. So they can
Gotta get in the mood for Christmas.
Yeah. Yeah, I gotta start learning my Christmas songs again.
Is that Toby Madcap?
Yeah, I was like, wait a second. I see two copies.
Oh.
It's also white.
What?
Oh, second.
You just tripped.
What? I found a whole bunch of airsoft guns when we were playing in the high school room yesterday.
Okay.
We could do an airsoft battle.
I've had enough of those with my brother. I already have scars.
I found a fully automatic pistol. I was shooting Jared with it yesterday.
Like little Uzi?
He was bleeding.
Like little Uzi? You don't know what an Uzi is?
No.
Uzi is like a hand machine gun.
Oh.
With the chicken at the end.
And then there's.
It's basically about this big, and it's kind of like a pistol, but it's full.
No. It's like a little tiny pistol. Like I found another pistol that was like a little tiny water gun, like this big. But it's like a fully automatic airsoft gun.
I saw two of those at Big Five, and me and Joe really wanted them because we could have like a tiny airsoft fight.
Have you seen it? Despicable Me 3? Or
It's Minions.
yeah. But I love it when he's all like pulls that little tiny squirt gun in the beginning.
Yeah.
Yeah, girls. Whoosh. Catch him.
Actually, he goes at his face, so it would still be as lethal. And something is, when he threw the squirt gun, it hit him and his head went way back. It would be like, duh, that would be it.
No, it would just bounce right off.
Yeah, exactly, but he went, and it flew across his face. And this.
Muffin?
I know. It seems like you've been waiting.
Ted Boss. We're waiting on you, Lexi.
my fault.
It is your fault because we're all waiting on you.
Guys, let's not start anything.
This is how the Revolutionary War started.
The Revolutionary War? More like the Civil War.
Okay, fine. What's the Civil War?
I don't think the Brits came over and tripped someone.
Well, that would be pretty funny.
It would be hilarious. That's what it would be.
Oh, have you seen Monty Python and the Holy Grail?
Yes.
Who hasn't?
Like, before you were born, Weston.
I love that movie.
Before you even existed.
I love it when King Arthur is battling the Black Knight.
Oh my gosh.
It's
So good.
just a scratch. Your arm's laying on the ground right there.
It's just a
I've seen
flesh
worse.
wound.
There you
It's but a
have it.
flesh wound.
It's only a
Your
flesh wound.
arm's off. No, it's not.
Seth, are you just trying to get like as
It's
far
only a
away as
scratch.
possible from everyone?
Come here. I'll bite your legs
No,
off.
just for me.
I love it when he just starts kicking him.
Yes. Oh, so good.
Or at the very end, when they're all charging the castle, and then the SWAT team just comes in.
Yeah. All the police. So good.
I wanted to see that battle.
Oh, like the rabbit that's like a demon.
Yes,
Oh,
the
yeah.
demon rabbit.
I warned
You know what? If they did
Your
those scenes in
must
reverse
be
where he
more
builds a
than
giant
funny.
rabbit, it would have been so much scarier if that had come after the like killer rabbit.
Yes.
I love John Cleese trying to explain that the rabbit is the monster.
Okay, it's furious. It had teeth, its little tiny paws. It's a murderer.
I warned you.
Okay, so.
Right, things that aren't Monty Python's.
So you know God.
I've heard of him.
Really?
Yep.
Dude, cool. We're really close. We go way back. I'm glad you know him too. Alright. I'm gonna talk to our Father in heaven and then we will worship his name and who he is. God, thank you so much for this beautiful morning. And thank you for each person you brought here today. I just ask that you bless this worship time as we just sing out to you, God. We wouldn't be distracted by anything around us or even in our own heads, Lord, that we would just put all of our attention and focus on you right now. And we wouldn't be ashamed to just sing out and just truly just glorify your name, God. We love you. We give you this time. Do we have sound, my friend?
That's a
No.
really good question, Lexi.
Nope.
Should have asked you sooner.
I should have thought of it sooner. Can I give that a shot?
Check, check. Ooh, there we go. Okay.
Check.
All right. Thank you, Lord. Please bless this time. I could just sit and wait for all your goodness. Hope to feel your presence. I could just stay right where I am and hope to feel you. Hope to feel something again. I could hold on to who I am and never let you change me from the inside. I could be safe here in your arms and never leave. I'll never let these walls down, but you have called me higher, you have called me deeper, and I'm going to lead me, Lord. Yes, you have called me higher, you have called me deeper, and I'm going to lead me, Lord. Will you lead me, Lord? Will you lead me, Lord? So I can hold on, and I can hold on. I can hold on to who I am and never let you change me from the inside. And I can be safe
yours for all my life, so let your mercy light the path before me. And I will be yours, I will be yours for all my life, so let your mercy light the path before me. 'Cause you have called me higher, you have called me deeper, and I'll go where you will lead me, Lord. Yes, you have called me higher, you have called me deeper, and I'll go where you will lead me, Lord. You lead me, Lord. You lead me, Lord. And I'm caught up in your presence. I just wanna sit here at your feet. I'm caught up in this holy moment. I never wanna leave. Oh, I'm not here for blessings. Jesus, you don't owe me anything. And more than anything that you can do, I just want you. And I'm sorry when I've just gone through the motions. I'm sorry when I just sang another song. Take me back to where we started. I open up my heart to you. And I'm sorry when I've come with my agenda. I'm sorry when I forgot that you're enough. Take me back to where we started. I open up my heart to you. And I'm caught up in your presence. I just wanna sit here at your feet. I'm caught up in this holy moment. I never wanna leave. Oh, I'm not here for blessings. Jesus, Jesus, you don't owe me anything. More than anything that you can do, I just want you. Oh, I just want you. Nothing else, nothing else, nothing else will do. I just want you. Nothing else, nothing else, nothing else will do. I just want you. Nothing else, nothing else, nothing else will do. I just want you. Nothing else, nothing else, Jesus, nothing else will do. I'm caught up in your presence. anything, and more than anything that you can do. I just want you. I just want you. Could you guys stand with me, please, for the last song? You were the Word at the beginning, one with God the Lord Most High. Your hidden glory in creation, now revealed in you, our Christ. What a beautiful name it is. What a beautiful name it is. The name of Jesus Christ, my King. What a beautiful name it is. Nothing compares to this. Wow, what a wonderful name it is. What a wonderful name it is. The name of Jesus Christ, my King. What a wonderful name it is. Nothing compares to this. What a wonderful name it is. The name of Jesus. Now and forever, God, you reign. Yours is the kingdom. Yours is the glory. Yours is the name above all names. What a powerful name it is. What a powerful name it is. The name of Jesus Christ, my King. What a powerful name it is. Nothing can stand against. What a powerful name it is. The name of Jesus. What a powerful name it is. The name of Jesus. What a powerful name it is. The name of Jesus.
Alright guys, if you don't have your Bibles, get one off the shelf. We're going to need it today. Quite a lot.
The light. Why do people turn on the lights?
Alrighty guys, we're going to be finishing up chapter 18 today, so find your way to chapter 18, find that halfway point at verse 16.
What did I miss?
Everything.
Oh, the whole service.
Yep, you missed all of it.
Oh, sweet. Wait, is that a good thing?
No.
Are we reading off the screen again?
Mm-mm.
Oh,
All be blamed.
I dropped the American flag.
Quick heads up.
Hello.
Today is our parent meeting. If your parents aren't coming, they're going to miss out on yummy tacos, and churros, Mexican hot chocolate.
What if I was parents?
See, we had
Can I
Mexican
have
last
yummy
night.
tacos?
What?
Yeah, we had Mexican last night. My aunt got married.
That's fantastic. They should come for the meeting then.
I didn't
Anyways,
in and out.
I got flyers for that sitting on the counter before you leave. Grab one, bring it
Yeah.
to your parents. Say, hey, if you want to know what's coming up in the next
Can I
year,
have leftovers?
come. Yeah, you can come and have leftovers. It's fine.
Yeah, you know you should save up the leftovers for me.
Don't you have like wedding leftovers?
Actually,
You
we went to a
always have
restaurant, so like, no, we didn't.
Oh, that's a bummer.
You should
Oh,
always
We went to the
have.
Casa
Save me a
Romas
taco.
by the Fair Street.
Nice.
Shave me a taco for Wednesday.
I don't know how to shape tacos. All right, open up to
Same.
Genesis
You don't know?
chapter 18.
Why would
My
you shave
uncle
a taco?
accidentally
He asked me to
bought-
shape a taco. I just
I'm
told
pretty
him
sure
I
he
don't
said
know how.
save a taco.
No, he didn't.
Save.
He wanted to, but he didn't.
My
I wanted to
uncle,
say save.
Yeah,
my
you're still
uncle
saying shape.
accidentally.
Save.
Daniel, my uncle accidentally bought 2 times as much food as they needed for the wedding.
Oh yeah, that
So
happens.
he had
It's insane.
so much left over.
No,
Yeah.
for a while we had just like chips and salsa, and then and like an hour later, finally brought everything else.
Yeah, some places can't do big groups like they think they can.
No, I thought it was just gonna be like a buffet thing, but it didn't. It was just.
Do they have like a
drinks.
fixed menu where it's like you can pick one of 2 things or something like that?
No, they just like brought a bunch of whatever.
Oh, so it's like
All
buffet
like
at
fries.
your table.
You could
Yeah.
have a taco. You could have a taco or a fish taco.
I hate
taco,
fish
or
taco
fish
because I hate seafood.
You don't like seafood?
No.
Daniel.
Hate tuna, hate fish, hate salmon, hate
Fish
crab,
tacos are like
hate
some of the
lobster.
best seafood.
I can't hear.
What about
Yes.
clam
And
chowder?
hate. Oh yeah, I hate clam chowder.
How do you?
I also hate fish taco. Let's see, I hate
Okay.
lobster.
You can
I hate
keep
fish.
yourself.
You keep
I
listing all the things you hate, people are gonna start hating you.
What about
Oh.
shrimp?
Gotta dial it
I
back a
hate
bit.
shrimp.
Yes. But
At my brother's wedding, we had tacos and hot Cheetos, like a giant bowl of hot Cheetos on every table, and a
I
taco
take
bar.
that. Why didn't we had that? I'll be fine with
flaming
that.
hot Cheeto bar.
Yeah, flaming hot
That's
Cheetos.
fantastic. All right, so we're going to be in Genesis chapter 18 today. We're finishing up the chapter. Last week we saw God stop by in the form of Jesus pre-incarnation to talk to Abraham and Sarah.
Oh, I thought you
Sarah
were
did
saying
not
taco.
respond well to this. She laughed at the declarations of the Lord, but as far as we know, she didn't actually know who she was dealing with yet. Abraham, it seems like, might have got the idea, but even that's a bit mysterious. Anyways, he seems to figure it out because the conversation continues, and it is very clear as the conversation continues. He knows exactly who he's talking to. So, we're picking up at verse 16. Seth, could you just read us for? You didn't even get a Bible
Nope.
this whole time,
No, because
even though we all were talking about it, and then we all did it,
Yep.
and you were the closest one to the Bibles.
Yeah, but
And
he
you're the
wasn't here
furthest to
for
the left,
that.
so like you know I'm gonna ask you to read first. Seth, where were you?
He was in the
What
bathroom.
page?
Page 15.
That's it.
It means
Yes.
20.
It's Genesis. What do you want?
Oh.
It's like the first book.
Page 15.
Every time.
Okay. What?
What?
Page 15.
Chapter 18, verse 16.
It says, then the man.
Then the man got
Nope,
up.
it doesn't say
Got
that.
it. The man.
He totally got you.
Wrong.
It's then the men.
Then the men got
Oh.
up from their meal and looked out towards Sodom. As they left, Abraham went with them to send them on their way.
Okay, so they ate their meal. They had their little conversation. There was the promise again of a son named Isaac this time. It was going to be Sarah's child. Like, it was all very detailed, very
Son of laughter.
very certain.
Isn't that what it means?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then they get up after the meal to leave. And they look out towards Sodom. Now, I know that sounds a little bit weird because, like, you know, where the heck is anywhere in the Bible? But here you go. This is where they're at. So they're up at the oak grove belonging to Mamre, and they look out towards Sodom. So they're basically looking, like, across the southern end of the sea towards Sodom. And they're up high in the hills. This is down in the valley. It's like you're looking down the slope of the mountains. You look over the water, and there's Sodom. Yeah. Maybe swallow. So we don't have to shave any tacos.
Why are there lines?
What lines?
Oh, these lines.
Oh, that's because
Good question.
It's a
that's
cliff.
a great question. So this is like a normal sea, like you would expect, a lake, you know, normal body of water. Okay, stop scratching my screen.
Sit down.
But the river that feeds this up north is the Jordan, and it's a crazy, muddy, silty river, and it's filled this with so much mud and silt that as the water drains out, instead of just being another river again, as it goes back out the southern end of the lake, it brought all the silt with it. And so, like, instead of a river that's like, you know, 20 feet wide, 20 feet deep, that kind of a thing, it just kept bringing in water and silt and eroding all of the land around it and then filling it with silt. And so, like, that whole portion of the sea is like 10 feet deep. This whole thing. So they use it to, they built little land bridges all through here to make it so they could suck up water from there. Send it different places, you know, do stuff with it. Yeah.
I'm gonna define silt.
Silt is like sand, but it's even smaller. It's like the stuff mud is made out of.
Wait.
Yeah.
I heard that, like, in Mesopotamia, they would have huge floods. They would put out all this mud and everything, and it was like the best farming
Oh, yeah.
you could ever have.
it's what they use it for. They suck up the water, they take the silt, it's got all the minerals in it from all the dead fish. Tons of stuff plants love. Yeah, no, dead stuff, plants love that. Totally love that. Dead fish, really good. Great for plants.
Lord
Do
knew
you
what he's
eat
doing.
that fish?
Say what?
Lord knew what he's doing.
Yeah, Lord knows what he's doing.
You just
Alright,
eat
so-
fish and
Yeah,
throw
as
it
long as
back
it
to
goes through the plant first, you can eat just about anything. There's even research into like what just happened in Paradise with the fire, like all the chemicals leaching out. People were like super freaked out that like you can't plant anything up there forever. And then we did some research because Noble Orchards up in Paradise was giving away free apples. You just like go up and pick apples as many as you want.
I want apples.
Oh my gosh, so good, such good apples. So we did research, and it turns out plants are amazingly good at filtering out all that stuff. So the plant will be poisoned, but the fruit won't.
Cool.
Like
Good.
what? So like there's certain kinds of vegetables you should not plant because you end up eating the whole plant.
Ah.
Not a good choice. But any
Apples.
fruit-bearing plant, totally fine.
So like kale is
The
a
tree
go.
will totally have poison in it, and it'll be like, whatever, I'll make good
No
apples.
broccoli?
I love
Yeah, don't eat
broccoli.
broccoli. Not from Paradise.
Don't
I'm
eat
not sure there's
broccoli.
anyone growing broccoli in Paradise right now anyways.
What
Okay,
about watermelons?
not the point.
That'd be a
Alright,
bummer.
so they look across the water, they see Sodom off in the distance, but why is this important, Lexi? Fill us in.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was in the bathroom. Where am
Could
I?
you read verses 17 through 19?
Yes. And then the Lord said, "Shall I hide from Abraham what I am doing? Since Abraham shall surely become a great and mighty nation, and all the nations of the earth shall be blessed in him. For I have known him in order that he may command his children and his household after him, that they keep the way of the Lord to do righteousness and justice, that the Lord may bring to Abraham what he has spoken to him." I said 19, right?
Mm-hmm. That's good. Alright, so Lexi obviously has a different translation. If you have a
Yes,
hard
sorry
time
about
following, it's okay. Everyone can come with their own Bible. We don't care what translation you bring. So what he's talking about here is kind of like a conversation to himself, but different than that. Because God is in three parts, and only one of them is physically present here. What it seems like most to me is less like he's talking to himself, and more like he's talking to God the Father. So this is God the Son on the earth in humanish form, and he's now considering, do I even need to share this with Abraham? Does he need to know? Does anyone know why Sodom is important in this whole story, this grand scheme of things?
Because it's the city that Lot lives in.
Yeah. So once upon a time, they were standing up north of here. Him and his nephew. Abram, he was called Abram back then. Abram and Lot standing up there, and they've got so many servants and sheep and goats and cattle and all that stuff that the people under them are fighting over resources, even though Abram and Lot get along. Abram and Lot, good buddies. It's uncle
Those
and
are
nephew.
families.
They're family. It's great. But their servants, the people that work for them, are like, no, this is Abram's water. No, it's Lot's water. And they fight, and bad things happen. So they decide we're going to split up. And he lets Lot choose. And Lot picks the land in the valley on the other side. All of this land had that good soil, like we were talking about. It had all that in there from all the rainwater bringing the nutrients through. Lots of water coming in from this way. You can go get water from there. It was a great place to be, in an ag culture like they were. So that's what Lot picks. First he goes near Sodom. He's in a tent. He's like camping out around the outskirts. And then eventually he actually moves into Sodom. Now, Abram, he just goes a little bit south. He doesn't like move across the sea. He doesn't move way far away. He just goes from where they were standing a little bit due south. He ends up over there by the oak grove along the Mamre. Eventually that place gets named Hebron. So he's in Hebron. So they split up, but they're a close family. And the Lord is planning something for Sodom. And now he's thinking, I don't owe Abraham an explanation. This is my righteous judgment that I'm about to enact on Sodom. I'm about to go through with something I know is the correct thing to do, but do I have to tell him? Should I tell him? What will he do? Would that be best? So he's considering all this real fast. I don't know how fast the mind of God goes, but surely faster than mine. And so as soon as he asks himself the question, he has the answer.
No.
Isn't that great? All right, so you get to read us the next verse. Actually, two verses, 20 and 21.
Are you sure?
Positive, I just checked.
God. So the Lord told Abraham, I have heard a great outcry from Sodom and Gomorrah, because their sin is so flagrant. I'm going down to see if their actions are as wicked as I have heard. If not, I want to know.
Okay. So Sodom and Gomorrah, they were sister cities. Gomorrah is like just down here. And there's like 5 cities that rim this southern end. And we don't actually know how far back in time this portion of the sea existed. We don't know exactly how long it took for that to form because it came from the river that comes out of the bottom of that sea. Now that sea's talked about, mentioned, maps are drawn with it all the way back. So this one's been around a long, 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 long time. And maybe the shape's changed a smidge, but it's been there. This could have just been a river for all we know. We're not 100% sure on how slowly and when this exactly formed into the 10-foot deep lake that it is now. It's because this is Google Earth. It's all modern images. We don't really know exactly. So we can do archaeology, we can try and figure some stuff out, but the timing is still fuzzy at best. So we don't know exactly if Sodom is just like on the hills by a river, or if it's like pinned in by 2 seas like it is now, or what exactly. But getting there still would have been tricky either way. Whether you're crossing over a sea to get to Sodom or crossing over a river to get to Sodom, it's not a quick thing. So when the Lord talks about this, obviously he gets to do things like teleport, he gets to do things like fly, like, you know, he can do whatever he wants. Abraham isn't really going to get to go make a trip real quick to Sodom. That's not a quick thing. You have to go find some river crossing, find some way to get across the lake, get a boat, something like that. It would take a while.
Let's go through.
Yeah, it's going all the way around the bottom takes a while too. And there's still a river down there. If you, no matter how far down you go, just the river goes all the way out to the sea, like to the ocean eventually.
Can you just swim across the river?
You could. He's old though. I don't know if he's gonna do that. Okay.
A lot of stuff with them too.
That's
Like
true.
a boat. All that.
That's why you
All
have
right, so
servants.
Sodom and Gomorrah's reputation was so bad. I want you to really put this in perspective. It was so bad the Lord wasn't sure if it could be true. Think about that phrase for a second. The reputation was so bad the Lord didn't think it could be true.
It's true.
That's pretty bad. We're going to see next week as we get into the details of where Lot lives and what's been going on in his life. It's bad, like probably worse than we can imagine. In the sense that I don't think there's another city on the planet that is ever compared to this. Their evil ran so deep. And then on top of that, they use this word in this translation, flagrant. I don't know what the end of 20 is for you. Maybe brazen or something like that.
Sin is very grave, is what it says.
Grave. Okay. So grave means serious deal. Flagrant means sounds like the complete opposite actually. Now that I think about it, it means I don't even care. Like I kick you and I don't even care.
Thanks.
Does that make sense? Like it's not even a big thing to me. I don't even stop to continue bullying you. I just kick you, think it's funny, and keep on walking. It doesn't even faze me that I've hurt you. That's flagrant. Like it's not even a thing. It's unimportant. So this is how bad their sin got. Their sin got so bad, their reputation spread out from there. And then on top of it, while they sin, they just don't even think about it. It's not even a big deal. It's like, what, that's wrong? So they're doing the worst things imaginable and at the same time treating it like it's nothing at all. Does that make sense? Now, even if you have like a supervillain who's maniacally cackling and torturing people and blowing up the planet, he knows what he's doing. And and like it's on his face. Look at how evil this is. But that's not the way it was there. The way it was there was it was so evil, and they were just like shrug. What? What do you mean? This is how we live.
I did just kick him.
I don't know if that's exactly it.
A little tiny
Or they
That might go
come
too
up
far.
so long that it became a norm.
That's what I think it is.
No.
It's less, I don't think it is bad. It's more, I've made up reasons why it's okay. I've made it okay. And really, it's not that hard to do when your whole culture does it with you. Yeah.
Sounds like today.
It's a bit like today. The difference, I think, in this instance and what sets them apart from all these other cultures we've seen since the one we live in now
We
is
care.
really like the uniformity and the unity with which they were willing to commit these crimes and do these awful things. So they were doing them as a team. It was their city's job
Let's
to
go
be this way.
team.
Can you imagine if Chico got together and picked one crime and we were all just like, yeah,
Yeah, let's go do this.
We picked one sin and that was just like what we're all about. We love that. And no one was off board. Everyone was on board. That would be weird. I don't care what sin you pick. It would be weird.
What if it was?
Full on people.
Don't pick one.
Don't pick one. It's gonna get weirder if you pick one. It doesn't really matter. The best one I can think of that's not that weird is like theft. If theft was just our way of life and all we did was steal constantly, all day, every day,
Okay.
everyone thought it was normal to
Each
just
other?
steal. And when we got tired of stealing from each other, we just go to neighboring towns and like all of us, thousands of people at once, would just go steal stuff and then go back home and be like, what?
We're Vikings.
And just go back home with other people's
And then
stuff.
they steal it from you. And
So that's what it looks like.
We're
When your
raiders.
whole culture embraces something, it becomes your identity. So if your whole culture embraced thievery, you might get called Vikings because that's like our stereotypical Vikings. They all go out and steal stuff. I'm not really sure that really was every single Viking. I feel like that's a little.
Well, there is one
A little
Viking who likes
crude.
to sing.
Yeah, that's true. I remember reading that in a history class about the asparagus. Okay, anyways. It's a VeggieTales joke. Okay, so Elise,
Yeah.
would you read us? This is actually a big chunk.
I know, yeah.
I want to read
22 through 25.
Really?
Okay. The other men turned and headed toward Sodom, but the Lord remained with Abraham. Abraham approached him and said, "Will you sweep away both the righteous and the wicked? Suppose you find 50 righteous people living there in the city. Will you still sweep it away and not spare it for their sakes? Surely you wouldn't do such a thing, destroying the righteous along with the wicked. Why, you would be treating the righteous and the wicked exactly the same. Surely you wouldn't do that. Should not the judge of all the earth do what is right?"
Interesting that he jumps to sweep it away. Does that make sense to you? Like, Abraham is making a judgment call based on what the Lord said previously. I'm going down to see if their actions are as wicked as I have heard. If not, I want to know. He didn't say, and if they are, I will blow it up with a bomb. He didn't say that. He just said, I'm going to go see how bad it is.
Oh, wait, is this a
What is making Abraham jump to, would you destroy the whole city? Why is he jumping that far? That seems like a 50-yard jump.
Because that's what he's going to do.
Why would Abraham guess this?
He
because
doesn't want no
God
wicked people.
hasn't God done this in the past?
To what? To where? To who? This is Genesis 18. Which chapter would it have happened in? You're not wrong. I'm just wondering if you remember. He did do it once.
Oh, let's go through the chapters.
Test.
You failed, Seth.
It was a pretty big event.
It's kind of a big deal. Wiped away a lot of people all at once.
The flood.
Yeah, there we go. So the Lord actually has a track record of judging sin, seeing evil, calling it out for what it is, judging it. It's on his track record. And remember, we're only 18 chapters in, so that means there's not that much history to remember. The history of the world is not all that long yet. It's only like 20 generations or so. It's the history of the world, 20 generations. Big generations, but it's not that long. So he remembers this. What's the other thing you think that maybe Abraham knows that's pushing him in the direction of, dang it, God's going to wipe it off the map? Because that's where he went. It's going to be gone tomorrow. Why does he go there?
He knows how bad they are.
He knows Sodom. So these are the two things. He knows God, he knows Sodom. And in Abraham's mind, if the two meet, one's surviving, the other one's not.
And we all can guess who survives.
Yeah, that's basically it. So Abraham knows the city, and he knows God. And if God is here in person to do a review,
Not it.
you guys ever had a teacher-parent conference?
I had mine on Friday.
Oh, really? Okay, there you go. How was that? Did that go well?
Yeah, actually I did.
Yes, that's awesome. Was it a little bit scary going in?
Yes.
Do you feel like your teacher could have said more about you that they didn't say for some reason?
Yeah.
Isn't that weird?
It scared me.
Yeah, exactly.
You have a nice
So
teacher.
you think you have the meanest teacher, and then when they're actually talking to your mom, you're like, oh no, they're gonna tell their mom something or something.
Yeah.
And then like your mom goes, like, hi son, how is it? And you're like, she knows.
this is that moment, but Abraham's like the parent,
Yeah.
and he knows that Sodom, where his nephew lives, so we'll call it his kid. They're not doing that good. They're not gonna get a good review. And so then when the teacher says it's parent teacher day, then the parent's like, oh no, this isn't gonna be good. That's Abraham. And so now he freaks out. He's like, well, what if there's like 50 nice people all mixed in, all scattered throughout the horrible city? Then what are you gonna do, God? You're gonna just wipe it off the map like you did in the giant flood? Is that what you're gonna do? All right, now I put a question on the board.
Flood, there was only one family. That was good.
Interesting that you mentioned that.
Wait, was
That was just
Abraham-
Noah's
was
family.
Before we go that far,
Was
did anyone
Abraham
notice the question on the
family-
board when you walked in?
No, because I walked in before the question was on the board.
I'm a little curious now who actually answered it. If it was just Lexi or if any of you guys answered
Oh, I didn't. I'm sorry. I
it.
just.
You didn't actually? Oh, you
I made it darker so people would notice it.
No one answered it.
Okay, everybody answer.
And you persuade him.
Persuade?
I've got an idea.
Okay.
You don't.
You don't? Okay.
You talk them into it.
My answer.
You try to talk them into it.
You
and then
punch
because
them.
you'll automatically fail, then you, oh.
I don't think you can.
I would try and
bribe
talk them out of it, because then since you can't,
Yeah,
then,
you can also bribe
then they'll
them.
get talked into it.
Reverse psychology.
Yes.
You can also bribe them.
You could bribe them. Alright, now which of those methods, reverse psychology, persuasion, bribery, which one works on God?
None.
None of the above. D. None of the above.
Well, why
Let's watch what happens here.
Why would you try to change God's mind if He knows everything?
Interesting question.
And he knows.
Wow,
Let's-
just think of
Let's come
ow.
back to that. Let's come back to that. Okay. So we saw Abraham snap judgment call. He says, oh dang, God's going to destroy them. And then we saw him plead. Well, if there's 50, would you destroy them? Hey, God, that wouldn't be just. Like you're just, you're fair, you're righteous. That wouldn't be fair and righteous because then you'd be treating good people, bad people all the same. That wouldn't be good. What does God say? Verse 26.
He's just looking at you.
And the Lord replied, if I find 50 righteous people in Sodom, I will spare the entire city for their sake.
All right, this is the big question. Does he say this? Is this true because of what Abraham said?
No.
Or was this already true?
This was already true. I don't know why.
You're just guessing. It's fine to guess. Think about this, guys. Do you think it was already true? Like, Abraham doesn't exist. He never spoke to God. He was never a thing. God finds 50 righteous people in Sodom. He's like, well, I won't wipe the city off the planet.
Wait, no.
Minus Abraham, would this still be true? No. That's my question. What do you guys think?
I don't think so.
Let me put it to you like this. Do you think the Bible was exaggerating when God flooded the earth and he said there was no one righteous except for Noah?
You know, there was a time where I believed that.
Think about that for a second. Do you think it was being exaggerating or was it being honest
Honest.
when the Bible says there was no one righteous but Noah? He was the only one on the planet.
His family was righteous too.
It didn't say that.
Nope.
No, it didn't say that.
It did not say that. I've tried to find that verse. It's not there.
It's just Noah.
Well, his family survived, so
They
it
did
must
survive. They survived because of Noah.
have. Yeah, because Noah taught his family to be righteous.
Nope.
Yeah.
Interestingly, Noah wasn't even that good.
Well, he taught them to believe in, and do other great things, and not to be like all those
Daniel-
All
other.
you have to do is read the chapter after the flood and you'll find out that's not
Daniel,
true.
You don't
They
have
immediately sinned.
Daniel.
Immediately.
you don't
They're
gotta
like, oh, we're saved! Whew! All bets were off. They're done. After that, they got to do whatever they wanted, and they didn't do so good.
you don't have to be good, you just gotta be better than them.
It doesn't say, and Noah was slightly better than everyone else on the planet.
Oh.
He was the least horrible. It just said he was righteous.
Yes.
Just like his family.
Yeah, Weston.
No, I'm
Oh,
saying
you're just shaking
yes.
your fist? Okay, cool. I thought that was a hand raise too. Alright. Let's keep reading. Let's see if we can figure this one out. Alright, 27 and 28 for Weston.
What?
27 and 28.
27 and 28. Then Abram spoke again, since I have began, let me speak further to my Lord. Even though I am but dust and ashes, suppose there are only 45 righteous people rather than 50. Will you destroy a whole city of lack of 5? The Lord said, I will not destroy it if I find 45 righteous people there.
So Abraham is trying to be persuasive. You could have said this 50 different ways, but what he says is, would you destroy a city for the lack of 5?
Yeah, then it's gonna go like down.
But that's not true. That's not real. That's not what God would be doing. God would be destroying a city for the presence of thousands and thousands of horribly evil people. He wouldn't be destroying a city for lack of 5. But that's what Abraham says. He phrases it, would you destroy it for a lack of 5 people?
Yes, I would.
That's very clever phrasing. Because then it sounds like God is doing some huge amount of judgment for a very small thing. But that's not really what's going on. He's really about to enact a huge amount of judgment because of a huge amount of evil. God is very proportionate. He doesn't go wiping every city off the planet just because there's some evil people in it. We wouldn't have any cities if that was the case.
Well, no one be alive. Everybody be like.
The second they sin, they die.
Everybody's a pillar
Be a
of
terrible
salt.
system. There would have been like one generation. The first kids grew up and sin. Boom, we're done. That's it. It's over. But that's not how God is.
That's the world's history, right?
Yeah,
No,
where
I'm actually
is
listening.
history? God is forgiving and merciful, and He provides a certain amount of grace to everyone all the time. So no, God's not going to destroy anything for lack of 5. Yeah, Weston?
If it was that way, then our planet would be known for the salt planet.
Yeah,
There would be a lot of salt.
a lot more salt. Well, we'll actually get into that. There's some interesting archaeology and geology
I hate
that
geology.
brings that whole thing into perspective. But we'll get there.
God just drained everything else besides the salt in our body.
No, it's back to the silt. It's
I've
back to the
thought
silt.
about
We'll get there.
That's funny.
Instead
Okay.
of turning everything to salt.
I've got verse 29.
Well, I call dibs on that.
Then Abraham pressed his request further. Suppose there are only 40. And the Lord said, I will not destroy it for the sake of 40. Seth, can you do 30? I feel like I'm an auctioneer.
Please don't be angry, my lord. Abraham pleaded. Let me speak. Suppose only 30 righteous people I found.
Keep
And
going.
the Lord replied, I will not destroy it if I find 30.
And he said, Indeed, now I have taken it upon myself to speak to the Lord. Suppose 20 should be found there. He said, I will not destroy it for the sake of 20.
And then 32.
Finally, Abraham said, Lord, please don't be angry with me. If I speak one more time, suppose only 10 are there found there. And the Lord replied, then I would not destroy it for the sake of 10.
And then Elise, 33.
When the Lord had finished his conversation with Abraham, he went on his way, and Abraham returned to his tent.
So he
The end.
negotiated, it would seem, all the way down from 50
To 10.
to 10. And we said at the beginning, you can't change God's mind.
Well, it just happened.
Did it?
Kind of.
At what point did God say, I'm going to destroy the city?
Nowhere.
He didn't.
At the very
Abraham
beginning.
assumed.
At what point did God say, I'm going to destroy it even if there's 50?
Nowhere.
At what point did he say, I would destroy it even if there's 10?
Nowhere.
So what did Abraham do?
Nothing.
He did nothing.
Oh no, he did something.
He
He
persuaded us.
just saved his family.
He
Did
just saved his what's it called?
Nephew.
A lot.
Yeah, that person.
Did he?
Yes.
No.
Where did it say, please save my nephew Lot?
No, okay, it didn't say that, but because
Where did it say, I will save your nephew Lot?
Okay, it didn't say that either.
So what did Abraham do?
Nothing.
No, he
changed
did
his
something.
He talked.
Yes.
That's true. That's
Yes.
true. Okay.
I'm genius.
We got that part down. Anything else? What else did Abraham do?
He dared.
That's true. He got bold. That was good.
He had
Talked
guts.
with God.
He talked with God. We usually call that something in particular.
Praying.
Yeah, isn't that interesting? He got to pray
He dared to God.
with Jesus in the room, so to speak. They're outdoors, so
He
so it doesn't really count.
realized that God doesn't judge that much.
But he does.
That much? You're getting closer, though. Abraham drew closer to the heart of God. That's what he did. He started out thinking he knew God and he knew Sodom. Sodom's horrible. God's righteous. He'll judge Sodom. And he ended up finding out God wasn't about to wipe a city off the map if there was just 10 people in it that were worth keeping. 10 people was enough.
I have my timeline, I think, mixed up in my head. Wasn't the story of the earth opening up and swallowing people before this too? Or is it
After this.
That.
Because that's Moses' time.
That's right.
Which is like
That's right.
400-ish years after him.
You mean 500-ish?
I'll double check, but I think it's 400. Oh no, you know what? You're probably right, because it's actually 2 generations plus the 400. So it probably is like 500 years. Well done.
And you were just saying that.
I'm just guessing.
Yeah, no, I think you're actually right. I think it is darn close to 500.
I'm a good guesser.
Well done. So
You should be on Jeopardy.
this is all that really happens, guys. Abraham makes guesses about God, which, based on the evidence, turns out to be wrong. And then, after talking with God, he comes closer to knowing the truth about God. That's what happens. I've heard a lot of people teach this passage and say that he convinced God, or he reminded God, or he persuaded God, and I think that makes absolutely no sense based on everything else in the Bible.
He bribed God.
When you actually read it, and you notice that God never says, I will destroy Sodom. He never says that. He never says, here's what I'll do if. He never says that. All he does is confirm what Abraham asks. Wouldn't it be unjust, Lord, if you destroyed everyone, the righteous right with the unrighteous? And God's like, yeah, that would be unjust. Wouldn't it be wrong for you to do that? Yeah, it would be wrong for me to do that. Wouldn't you not really be fulfilling who you are and changing your ways? It's like, yeah, I would be changing my ways if I did that.
Thanks. Thanks for
And
the
so
pep talk.
Abraham figures out by the end, like, yeah, if there was even 10 people in that city worth saving, he'd save the whole city. Yeah, at least.
So would
Why
you,
not just save the 10 people?
Hold on.
Sorry.
You're not at least.
Also an option, but yeah, sorry, at least first.
do you think that he thought that he was convincing God, or do you think that he was actually just trying to do that?
I would say, based on the pleading nature, based on the outright groveling that occurs, not every time he makes a request, but most of the times that he makes a request, it's preceded by this, excuse me for even speaking, I don't even deserve to say one more thing, but I think based on that, I think he thinks he is changing God's mind.
Yeah.
And so by the end of it, I hope he's figured it out. And then my favorite part about this story is the part that's not written. At the close of 18, it says he went on his way. But then you get into 19 and you see who actually goes into the city, who actually goes to Sodom.
Angels.
2 angels. The 2 guys who came with Jesus, but not Jesus. So where's Jesus?
He went back home.
Did he?
Mm-hmm.
No, he's still with Abraham.
He went back home.
It doesn't say.
He
That's
went
my
back
favorite
to
part.
his beautiful throne.
Jesus
and
gets to
ate
be where
food.
he wants to be.
He ate.
Maybe he wants to go see Sodom from
Yeah.
afar.
He wouldn't do that.
Maybe he wants to go watch Lot and the angels. Maybe he wants to watch Abraham and see what he does. Doesn't matter. He gets to do it.
Why would he want to watch Abraham and see what he does if he already does?
Because he wants to be a stalker.
Have you ever watched a rerun of your favorite show?
Yes.
Not my favorite, but I have seen it.
Don't get off on a technicality here. Like, you rewatch something you enjoy.
Yeah.
Like
Okay.
a movie.
So, I would say, if the Lord's willing to watch something he already knows, it's a part he cares about.
What if you really don't care about the movie and you just want to rewatch it?
Well, I would go somewhere else and I'd watch something else.
And also he does.
But that's me. I don't really, I can't speak for the Lord, but I'm just saying, like, in some cases, I look at what he
loves
does and I
drama.
try and find the motivation as best I can, and I think this fits. He's about to have judgment go down over there, Abraham moving forward in his faith over here. I know where I'd want to be.
Jesus loves
I'll,
drawings.
I'll
Like,
be in the middle of that whole entire thing.
He's
Not
just
on the cross.
You could do it. You could just come right over here and sit on a hill. You know, Jesus with his eagle eyes, just sit up there and watch Abraham and watch. I mean, if he wants to do that, he can do that.
he just sits there.
But it's cool to think that Jesus was here on the planet and, like, we didn't get the whole story. He could have done 500 things in that week, and we know about this one conversation. That's really cool.
Why don't you just like destroy the people that were wicked and just save all the other people?
Interesting question.
Like,
Isn't that
like
essentially what we've decided he kind of has to do?
Isn't that what he's?
no.
Isn't that like?
Right now would kind of like, okay, he's just gonna save the whole entire city, even the evil people.
But you made a point. Why don't you just save the 10 that are good? You said that earlier.
Yeah, what I did,
I think that's a valid point.
and then just delete and destroy and erase.
What is
everything
God's
else.
actual
'Cause
track
we're all
record so
deleted.
far? What is God's actual track record so far in terms of judgment?
Destroying.
And saving the people who can control
Destroying.
delete.
It's both.
Yeah.
He does both. He does exactly what you said. In the flood, he found the one guy who was worth saving.
But he destroyed more than he saved.
Yeah, because there was less worth saving than there was worth destroying. It wasn't a random thing. It was literally he saved who deserved to be saved by his own judgment. And
I'm
then
pretty sure there were like some.
and then he saved a little bit extra
like
because the one he wanted to save needed company. If you save one man, you've still ended the population. Right? It's still over. So he saved one man, and then he saved a little bit extra.
Well, God created Adam, one man.
Oh yeah, he could have started over, but he had to create one woman, right?
True.
From the
Noah
kidney
and
of Adam.
his wife were.
Maybe he didn't want to do surgery again.
That's possible. I mean, once would be enough for me. I don't want to see inside anybody. That's not good.
Hey, if somebody saw the inside of me, I had surgery.
I'm sure doctors probably are good at it. I'm not that person. If I'm gonna see the inside of something, it better be dead, and I'm gonna eat it in like an hour.
That makes it better.
That's all there is to it. Yeah.
I'm gonna eat it. It's fine.
What if like Jesus had like a reclining chair right here and a bowl of popcorn, you know?
Or he could just sit on his
I
throne.
don't know. I'm not sure. So this is what
The
I was getting at
fireworks
earlier.
are starting.
This is what I was getting at earlier. I don't think the Lord takes any sort of enjoyment in enacting judgment.
True.
I don't see that
He could just
anywhere.
go back to his
When
throne
he
and
has
just
to judge,
sit there.
He's not regretting his decision to judge. He's regretting all of their decisions that brought them to judgment because they're his kids. He made them. And he cares about them. And that's the twisted, crazy part. Like, when you get to be a parent, you start to see it. As a leader, you see it too. Like, you have to discipline the one who's acting out for the sake of all the other ones.
Not me.
No, you still do. Yeah.
Jesus loves drama. He's sitting there like, ooh, Abraham, what you gonna do next? Just watch him. Cause you're saying like he watches them after he knows what's already happened, so he loves drama. He's like, oh, I'm just gonna watch this drama.
Ooh.
You know?
Try me.
Yeah, exactly.
Jesus should be on Jeopardy.
I would be interested to watch Abraham over the next few days. Is he gonna be in prayer a lot? Is he gonna start packing up
Exactly.
his stuff and like try and make a trek over to Sodom himself? And, like, go get Lot? I mean, what is he gonna do? I don't know. Because the last time Lot was in danger, you remember what he did?
He
Yeah.
went to the army and destroyed them.
Yeah.
What
He
kind
took
of-
on an army with like his neighbors for help. That's insanity.
You call up.
But that's who Abraham is. So like it would be interesting to watch him. And you're right, God already knows what he's gonna do, but I'd still find it interesting. Who knows? Maybe he has other people he wanted to go talk to. I can't speculate and really be certain.
Me too.
I can only speculate.
A stranger off
All
the
right, so
street.
this is all we're going to cover today, but what I want you guys to see in here is sometimes we get it in our heads because we're not thinking clearly. We're not just sitting there being logical. We're in prayer because we need something a lot. We're in prayer because we're hurting. We're in prayer because someone we love is hurting. And we go to God and sometimes we talk to him like we're going to convince him. Like we're going to sway him. Like we're going to persuade him, get him to do what we want him to do. And the funny thing is, he even takes that in stride. Like he even takes us assuming the wrong thing in stride because he even knows we were going to do that. But what would it look like if instead we went to him. And we're in need. Someone's hurting. Maybe it's us. And we go to him and we say, God, I need your wisdom to understand this whole situation. God, I want to know what your plan is and what you're already going to do. God, your heart is perfect. Your desires are perfect. Your knowledge is perfect. What is this whole situation for? Because I don't get it. Rather than, God, please change what you're doing. God, I don't like this outcome that I see coming. Do something else, God. What is that prayer going to get you?
Disappointment.
Sadness.
You disappointed.
Okay, you're on the naughty list.
Well, I don't think it's vengeance on God's part that he wants to bring towards you when you're praying with a wrong heart. You know what I mean? Like, if Jane's being rude, I don't want to punish her. I want to correct her. Does that make sense? Like,
Yeah.
I don't want to just, like, you talk back, smack. Like, that doesn't get me anywhere. It doesn't get her anywhere. And, like, if I love her, I want her to get somewhere. I want her to grow. So when she uses bad manners, typically, and maybe I'm not a perfect parent, maybe there's a better system, but typically I tell her straight to her face, I'm going to wait for you to say that nicer. I'm going to wait for you to say that again with good manners. And I'm not going to make a response of, here, let me do it for you, or no, I'm going to take something away from you. I'm just going to tell her, I'm still here. I'm still listening. Go ahead and try that one more time. And my hope is that eventually she'll get sick and tired of saying things 3 different ways and start coming out with the right way to say things the first time. And so I think that's kind of how God works with us. I don't think he backhands us proverbially when we pray wrong. I don't think he punishes us for praying with attitude or just with the wrong heart. I think he's waiting for us to wake up. I think he's waiting for us to get closer to his heart, get closer to who he is and what he actually wants for us. And that's what prayer is supposed to be for. That's the whole point. It's not that we would try and persuade him and push him and get him to do things for us. It's that we would draw close to him. And Abraham has this golden situation where he gets to, like, see the look on the Lord's face. He gets to watch the body language. We don't get that. When we pray, we're lacking in a body language, indicator. That's one of the best things you can have when you're in a good conversation with someone, is to watch them move as they think, and you can tell what they're thinking to a certain extent, how they're responding to what you're saying in real time. So cool, so valuable. I'm envious of someone like Abraham who gets to sit there and have a conversation with God, and it's like my prayers, except he gets to watch Jesus respond. That's so cool. But we still have something like that. We still get to read his word, we still get to pray, and we get to wait on him and see what he does. And that might not be as fast of a feedback loop as getting to watch him respond, but we still get to see what he does. Yeah.
If there was a movie on Abraham, how many times would you watch it?
Every single day.
It would really depend on how good it was, because there's been terrible movies about him too.
So true.
If it was accurate.
Accuracy isn't even half of it, but yes, I would probably watch it a lot. I actually have 2 documentaries one about Moses. I guess they're both kind of about Moses, but they touch on Abraham, and I've watched them several times. I really enjoy them. But they're well-made things, and they have information I care about, and, like, there's so much in them that you can't remember it all. It's like, they're good to watch. But the movies where it's just like the Bible as a movie, I get less from it than just reading the Bible.
Yeah.
Cool.
So I don't watch those very much.
If
Some of them are worth watching,
If a
some of them
movie
are
had
great.
everything in the Bible, it would be about 3 days long.
Oh, it would be long, yeah. I think reading the whole Bible takes, like,
Almost a year.
43 hours, something like that.
Like-
43 hours.
Like non-stop.
Because if you have recordings of it, right,
Yeah.
that's an accurate representation of what it would take to just read it and not do anything else. They got to edit it together
Yeah.
for multiple recording
you don't,
sessions.
You don't get to eat. You don't get to drink.
Yeah, you still got to do all the other stuff. Your
No,
life
you can
commands
eat
of
while
you.
you're reading, and then you can also read while you go into the
You would have to stay
bathroom.
up for 2 days straight, like almost 48 hours.
I can do that.
There you go. Well, and then some people can read faster than they can talk. So, like, the recording is them speaking out the Bible. You might be able to move your eyes over the page faster than that.
Yeah, they're reading
you
it
go
at a
you go on
slower
like an audiobook and you
Yeah, they're going intentionally a little slower than even a conversational tone. So.
you God.
Anyways, that's not the point.
That's why I don't
Audiobook
listen to
to
books
the
on audio.
times 5.
The point really is the interaction between Abraham and God. So I'm a little curious if you guys would, when we leave, go put your answer on the board, and you could put 2. You could put it as if you're answering for people, and you could put the answer as if you're answering for God. Another thing to think about too is God has to answer this question frequently. God is frequently in the correct position, trying to do just that. Change someone's mind. And there's really no one better at it than him. He's perfect at it. But the funny thing is, he holds back intentionally. He could push you really fast and make you change your mind. And he intentionally holds back so that you get to maintain your free will. He doesn't want to control you. But he has all power and all wisdom and all knowledge. He can totally control you. He can set up circumstances to make you do things. But he doesn't do it. Because that's not what he wants for you. He wants for you to learn. He wants for you to do what he wants because you want to do it.
Yeah, he doesn't want us to be
It's
like
complicated.
robots.
He doesn't want a bunch of robots. And so that's what prayer's supposed to be. Prayer's supposed to be something you do willingly, but your goal, going in, when you pray,
Is to learn.
is to see what he wants
He
you to do.
doesn't program us.
It's to learn about him, not teach him about you.
He doesn't program us to do what we want for him.
Yeah.
You work for me, do this, have a nice
Some
robot
people
life.
pray like that. They pray like there's a little genie up in heaven waiting to hear what they say. It's really scary. It means the whole world's about them.
Can I please have this
So
chocolate
I think
donut?
Abraham, as much as he may have gotten a few things wrong here in this chapter, I think one of the things he does get wrong is that as he tries to sway God, he does keep that humble tone the whole time. He's constantly abasing himself and just saying, I'm lowly. I know I don't deserve to ask you anything. I know I really shouldn't be making a request right now. But what does it show underneath that he still makes the request? What is driving him that he still makes a request when he clearly knows he shouldn't?
Maybe he doesn't trust.
Trust could be an issue. We know that's been an issue for
Doubt.
him. Same thing, yeah. Doubt. Anything else?
Lack of faith.
What's driving him though?
Stuff.
His nephew.
It's a genius-like answer.
It's his love for his nephew. And so I think God, being all-knowing, is very forgiving in these exact situations.
Wait, how many servants does Lot have?
A bunch. They don't really give a number. Just a bunch.
How
See,
many
if they
what?
all were faithful, there's like 10 then, right there. 15.
That'd be great.
Wait,
So
what?
like,
He was asking how many servants Lot had, and if Lot's servants were righteous, wouldn't that qualify?
hey, he didn't, they didn't,
We'll see what happens
they
next
didn't
week,
say
won't we?
servants, they said people.
That still counts.
Last time I checked, servants are people.
They totally are. All right, so I think God's really forgiving in these situations, though, when we pray with a wrong heart, but the motivation underneath is really selfless. So even though what Abraham's trying to accomplish is change God's mind, the reason why was a really good reason. It wasn't for Abraham's sake. It wasn't to get a fancy car, right? This isn't the super greedy prayer of please gimme.
They didn't
This
have
was
supercars
save
back then either.
the city because that's where my nephew is. And so God watches that, and I think he's incredibly gracious in that particular situation. I know that we often pray like Abraham does because of that exact motivation. There's someone who's in need and we love them and they need a lot. And so we pray, and maybe we don't pray exactly right, but God knows. He gets it. He knows we care about that person who's hurting or who's about to experience pain very soon. And so my point is, go to God, pray to him, realize who you're praying to, realize that he already knows everything you're about to say, and then rethink, what should I really be talking with him about? What should the conversation really look like if he already knows the other half? What's the point of this prayer? What am I supposed to get out of this? What am I supposed to learn about God? Ask him for those things. Ask him for the wisdom. Ask him for the understanding. That's really the best you can get out of prayer. Let's pray right now. Lord, as we pray right now, draw us close to your heart. Help us to see you. Your love of justice, your love of righteousness, but Lord, your mercy and your grace. That you would save us, Lord, is proof that is your heart. To be gracious, to be merciful, to forgive. And so, Lord, as we go through life and we find so many times where we need you or someone near us needs you, help us, Lord, to just pray that simple prayer of not our will but yours be done. Help us to pray that prayer and to really ask to see what you've got in store, to see what your plan is, to see you, your heart. Help us, Lord, to be like Abraham, to go to you when others need you, not just when we need you. To be bold, to pray for big things. And Lord, with our eyes closed and our heads bowed, if there's anyone in this room right now that still needs you and they haven't connected with you, they haven't received your forgiveness, they haven't put their faith in you, Lord, just touch their heart right now. Soften them. Humble them. If there's anyone here right now that wants to say, Jesus, forgive me, right as we're praying, you can just raise up your hand. Just to say, I need that forgiveness. I need his salvation. I need him to save me. I see that hand. You can put it down. Anyone else this morning? Just to say, God, I'm a sinner. Forgive me. All right, well, you who raised your hand, anyone who's too shy to raise your hand, you can still pray this. The hand doesn't make a difference. That's just because I can't see your heart. You got to show me somehow. But go ahead and just pray these words after me. Jesus, thank you for dying in my place, for taking my punishment. Please forgive me. Make me clean. Make me pure like you. I know that you rose from the dead, that you beat death. Lord, help me to live a life that's for you. Use your Holy Spirit to fill me, to guide me, to show me how to live for you. And then when I die, give me that heavenly life so I can live with you in your kingdom forever. Thank you, Jesus. Amen. Amen. Right on, guys. If you prayed that prayer this morning, whether you raised your hand or not, talk to me. Ask questions. Figure out where you're going and what's happening. I might have one or two for you. Like, do you have a Bible at home? You understand. But yeah, don't just bail. Anywho's, there's two things coming up. First up is today is the parent meeting at 1:30. We're providing tacos, churros, hot chocolate. It's going to be delish. Parents need to know. They can RSVP to let us know they're coming. There's a link on the bottom of the parent meeting flyer. And then also coming up is a New Year's party on, December 31st, like it should be. So, grab those flyers. They're on the kitchen counter before you leave.
Flip phones.
Get wrecked!
The winner.
And it doesn't even work.
You have a flip phone?
Yes,
Apparently.
here.
I love you guys.
No.
Have a great rest of your Sunday. Don't forget to tell your parents about the parent meeting. Grab those two flyers on the way out if you don't already have them on your fridge.
Yeah, I have an iPhone, but it got taken away, so I had to win phone bucket somehow.
He definitely got
Nailed it. Failed it.
Now I'm wondering what Jesus' body language was like. Like I'm trying to picture that. Like
Me? Do you think he intentionally fails it? Like he has perfect control, so he can just be like,
I don't know.
no, I'm not giving anything up.
Daniel,
Yes.
can I have the last one for rescue?
You already bought the first one. Do you really need another one?
Yes.
That's a little sad.
Well, I don't want somebody else getting it.
I see. You're just close to the raspberry iced teas.
I want you to
It
get
pains
one.
you to think of it being with anyone else. Oh yeah, leftover snacks.
Ooh.
How long ago did you buy that?
This is just for the girls' nurse night on Friday. So
Wait, no, that was the
I bought them on Friday. They were open on Friday.
day before yesterday.
I know how to map.
I know how to dance.
That's impressive.
I was there, just not there.
It's the weekend too.
Yeah, I was there, but not there, so.
Yeah.
I was in the high school
He
room.
was actually here.
So I was here, but not actually in there.
I was home.
Oh,
playing video
Weston.
games.
Well, I actually wasn't in the high school room.
Hey, you know what though? You keep serving, and you're gonna end up like me eventually.